trying to get the.
I can hear you.
Everybody's muted. Mr. Brown, can you hear me? No.
Yes, ma'am, I can. I can hear you and I can see you.
I see information technology. Is that you?
No, ma'am. I have my video up now. If you can see me, I can see
Yeah,
you.
Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can see you.
Okay, it's back. I can't hear him. It's back to how it was.
Do you have one of those sound bars that has the little volume knob on the side of it?
This 5-1.
No, my sound bar is on the side.
Where'd she go? Get back in here.
Who you talking
Let me
about?
see.
Has the knob
The knob on the side, yeah.
turn it all the way up.
Robert.
Okay. It's like,
I want to make sure that's not.
Feel right.
Mr. Brown. Well, they gone.
Yes, ma'am. I'm still here.
I let me laugh, but.
It's a little round thing. I don't know what's up or down. Well, it doesn't, I don't think that works.
Do you see the
All I can say is, she thinks that I'm an idiot.
touch that? There is an option to test microphone and speaker.
Okay.
Can you do that?
Okay. Speak and pause. Do you hear replay?
Good evening. I hope all is doing well.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
Great. Let me go ahead on and call the meeting to order. Our special call meeting for February 9th. It's only, can you do the roll call?
Yes, sir. Malinowski,
Here.
Pugh, McBride, Livingston,
Here.
Teratio,
Here.
Joe Walker,
Here.
Barron,
Here.
Overture Walker,
Present.
English,
Here.
Newton, and Mackey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our invocation, which will be followed by a pledge of allegiance. And that'll be done by the Honorable Bill Malinowski. Mr.
Thank you,
Malinowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I ask that during these difficult times, I ask prayers for the safety of everyone. For those who have been affected by the pandemic, that they will be comforted. I thank our frontline workers and first responders for their sacrifices and hard work. And I also pray for all children in jeopardy, especially the unborn. Amen. You'll now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malinowski.
You're welcome, sir.
That brings us to item 4 on our agenda, which is the approval of minutes. Our first set of minutes are 4A, regular session for December 15th. Chair, entertain a motion.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion for approval. Is there a second?
Thank you.
It's moving properly second. Any discussions, changes, deletions? If not, Ms. Owen, can you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Malinowski. Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride, Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton, Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is we have minutes for our joint public hearing on the 17th, as well as our special call meeting on the 17th. I'll take those together. There are no objections for a motion.
So moved.
Motion moved for items B and C. For
Mr.
B
Chair.
and C. Is there a second?
Oh, I'll second it. No, sir.
Moving properly second. Any discussion changes in the minutes for the joint public hearing December 17th or the special call meeting on December 17th?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
If not,
Mr. Chair, Bill Malinowski.
you're recognized, Mr.
Thank you, sir. Miss Only on page 33 at the top where it indicates present but not voting, it has my name. If you'd please put me as a no on that one. I think that's where I was having a glitch in here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other changes, deletions to the minutes for the 17th of December? If not, I'll ask Ms. Only to please call the roll for items 4B and C.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride, Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Yeah,
Newton,
correct.
Mackey.
Thank you.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next item is item 4D, special call meeting minutes for December 29th. Entertain a motion.
I so move.
It's moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's moving properly second. Any discussions, changes, deletions regarding the minutes for December 29th? If not, Ms. Owen, call the roll.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride, Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton, Mackey.
Newton's.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And item 4E, special call meeting minutes for January the 5th. It's our next item. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion for approval.
Second.
It's properly seconded. Discussions, changes, deletions? There being none, Ms. Owen, can you call the roll for item 4E?
Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes, and I'm present. I'm having technical problems.
yes, ma'am. Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton, Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. That completes our series of minutes. That brings us to item 5 on our agenda, the adoption of the agenda. Entertain a motion for adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second,
and properly second. Mr. Brown, is there anything staff need as it relates to any changes in the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I have not received any requests for amendments or changes to the agenda, sir.
Okay, if not, Mr. Moving properly second. Any further discussion regarding the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Mr. Mallon, you recognize.
thank you. Item number 17A is not properly before us because the motion that was made in those minutes that we just approved indicated that that item was supposed to come back at the first regularly scheduled meeting for council, and this is a special call meeting, so I would request that be put to the February 18th meeting.
And it did, and the motion did say regular scheduled meeting.
Yes, it did, sir.
All right. And you'd be correct. We remove that item then. (17A). Will be on our next agenda. Anything else regarding the agenda? We will remove item 17A. If not, Ms. Owen, can you call the roll for the motion to adopt the agenda?
Yes, sir. Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton, Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. That brings us to item 6, the report of the acting attorney general, county attorney, excuse me, for executive session.
Thanks for the promotion. There are 2 items that are appropriate for executive session tonight. The first being item 6B. That's going to be an update and legal advice on the Coggins versus Seals in Richland County case. That's appropriate for executive session under 30-4-70A2. Also, under the report of the chair, item 11A, the request from Gary Watts regarding retiree health insurance. That's going to be a personnel matter, and its executive session approval would be 30-4-70A1. The Coggins versus Seals, item 6B, Seals in Richland County does have outside counsel. That concludes my report.
And before we move into executive session, I'm gonna when we get to the chair's report, I'm gonna ask that the Watts item be removed from the agenda, so we would not have to have an executive session for that. So what's before us now is that executive session item that was mentioned by the acting attorney. And when we have outside counsel, we meet and go into executive session. So the chair would ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss the item dealing with Coggins versus Richland County. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we go into executive session.
The motion for
Second.
executive session has been properly second. And let me make sure that we properly enter that executive session. But I make it very clear that after council returns to open session, council may take action on any items include any subsection of any section listed on an executive session agenda or discussing executive session during a properly noticed meeting. It's moving proper second. Discussion about executive session items. If not, I'll ask you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
were we not going to be discussing the personnel matter of Mr. Watson executive session as well?
No, that's why I mentioned that. When I get to my report, I'm asking that be removed.
Yes, sir.
And I'll explain why. Any further questions? If not, I'll ask Ms. Owens to call the roll for the motion going to executive session to discuss the case regarding Coggins versus Richland County.
Malinowski. Malinowski.
No.
Pugh.
Yes.
McBride.
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Horatio.
No.
Joe Walker.
No.
Barron.
Yes.
Overture Walker.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Newton.
No.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Well, now I'm going to executive session to take up that matter.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Newton, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While we wait for the technical information, I got a text from IT that I was having technical issues and my previous votes were not recorded. So Miss Only, I did vote to approve the minutes that we voted on, and I did, of course, say that I was present. If you need any other information on my vote, the votes that I verbally tried to make, I'm happy to share that as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We're now going to executive session. Are we all here?
I
I'm
don't
not
see,
sure what happened. Yeah.
I don't see the breakout yet.
I don't see it
I'm
either.
looking for the breakout session link.
No.
Still live, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pure say.
I said we're still live, sir.
Yeah, but I don't think we're in the breakout room though.
Hang on 1 second, we're having technical difficulties.
All right.
Seems like I'm not the only one.
Well, hold on for a minute here. Did we all make it back?
Mr. Chair, I
Yeah.
move to come out
Oh,
of
I don't know.
executive session.
Chair, take a motion to come out of executive session. I think someone did just so moved.
So
Second.
moved.
Second.
It's moved and properly second. Ms. Owen, are you there?
Yes, sir.
It's a move and properly second. Let's come out of executive session, please. Call roll for the motion. Come out of executive session.
Yes, sir. Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh, McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
She said yes.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very
Did you
much.
call Newton? Point of order, did you call Newton?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry, I missed that. Well, yes.
You recorded. Thank you.
Mr. Ratio, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to instruct our attorney to proceed as discussed in executive session regarding a public hearing and bring back a response by our first council meeting in March.
You heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and properly second. There's no discussion. I'll ask Ms. Owen to call roll for the motion.
Yes, sir. Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yeah.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That brings us to citizens input, item 7 on your agenda.
Chair.
Ms. Malinowski, you have a question? Go ahead.
I just wanted to have the attorney, this was not discussed in executive session, but I would like our attorney to bring forward information as to why it was stated back when the Gerald Seals matter was taking place. It was stated by the courts that this council took a vote in executive session, which is not accurate. And I would like the details on that we can be provided, and if need be, that the public can be provided also, because we've never taken a vote in executive session. Thank you.
Thank you. Now that brings us to item 7 on our agenda, which is citizen input. That's for an item on the agenda not requiring a public hearing. It's only, did anyone submit something reference citizen input?
No, sir.
The public hearing is open and now closed. Item 8, citizen input. Must pertain to a Richland County matter not on the agenda. Items of which a public hearing is required or a public hearing has been scheduled and those items cannot be addressed at this time. Did anyone sign up for the second public hearing, Ms. Holmes?
No, sir.
The public hearing is open and now closed. That brings us to item 9 on our agenda, report of the county administrator, Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of council. In your packet, you received some documents associated with my report. I'll touch on a few of that information right now. Under the COVID-19 statistical data, under that report, I just simply put a document in there reflecting that DHEC had updated how they were calculating the positive percentage in Richland County concerning COVID-19. So it went from the process they were using to using positive tests over a total combined number of positive and negative tests times 100 to get that percent positive. And what that did was, if you noticed, when they changed that structure, how they were calculating that, we had been averaging upwards of percent positive numbers of 30+ percentage points. And then once they made that change, which they said aligned more with what the federal alignment was, it made that number kind of go down. So they said that it did not change the community spread values, that they're still community spread, but what it did was, from a statistical standpoint, it changed that percent positive number. So if you were looking at our percent positive now as compared to what it looked like before, around the December, January time, we were still averaging upwards of 20 plus percentage points in terms of percent positivity. Now, according to the state, we're down to around 10% as a state. And in Richland County, that number is even lower based on those new calculations. So again, it's just information, understanding that DHEC has changed how they were calculating the percent positive related to COVID-19, so that you can kind of keep track of that information. Also relative to COVID-19, a few of the council members have had various events. I think I'm going to leave out one of them by mistake, but if Councilmember Barron in District 7 wants to correct that, please do so. But there was an initial event that was held at the James Clyburn Technology Center early on, which was a combination of a mask giveaway event, but more importantly, it was a senior sign up for COVID-19 registration event. And I believe she actually hosted another event also in the district that I did not get record of. So Ms. Barron, did you want to clarify that, if you don't mind, please?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Brown.
Thanks for the promotion.
Sir?
Thanks for the promotion. I'm administrator now.
So we visited the Booker Heights community and Forest Heights community they were giving away a community. They had bags that they created for senior citizens. And they asked if we had masks to give away. And so we were able to contribute to their senior bags. And while there, several seniors drove up with questions about registering for the COVID vaccination. So I had my iPad in hand and went ahead and registered. We registered about 13 people on that day as well. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I didn't want to leave out any events. Also, we have scheduled in the packet that you've seen that in addition to COVID-19 testing and also mask giveaway events, District 2 had several scheduled events that are actually currently on the county's website, as well as went out in the county's news information to the public, and it's also included in your packet. So those events are scheduled through April. They're hosted on the second Saturday of each month in Blythewood, and then the last Saturday of each month in St. Andrews. So again, we want citizens to be aware in those areas of those events, and that information can be found on the county's website in the newsletter that was sent out by the county in reference to District 2 events concerning COVID-19 testing. We also continue our partnership with Prisma Health. They are using the Sears facility to produce COVID-19 testing for citizens. So again, that testing is free, and it is a partnership that we still have ongoing with Prisma. Additionally, in your packet, I also included some information related to the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. We've been getting a lot of questions from not only our employees, but from others about Richland County's ability to affect the COVID-19 vaccination rollout. And so I thought it important to include so that members of council would be aware, as well as the public who is watching us, that Richland County as an agency does not have jurisdiction over the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. So those phases that are included in that rollout, in that flow chart that you can see, are phases that are communicated by DHEC to the agencies within Richland County. So I just wanted to conclude that information in there. So you have that flow chart that talks about the vaccine rollout and who's scheduled to get vaccinated in what phases, and how that may apply to Richland County, is that the majority of our staff, if you will, really would fall in kind of the 1C area and in large part. So we're looking at a vaccine rollout later in the year, unless DHEC or through the governor's office, escalates that and moves that up any sooner. So I just thought it important to communicate that, since there were a lot of questions about the vaccine rollout, how can employees of Richland County be included? What can we do? And I just want to make it clear that to the extent that Richland County has control over this process, is really the sharing of information and not us being able to dictate when individuals get vaccinated from Richland County standpoint. Are there any questions about the COVID-19 information before I move on with the report?
Mr. Brown, I don't have a question, but I do know that I'm getting some feedback from some of my colleagues is we may need to try to hold a coronavirus ad hoc committee meeting. And there's some questions around employees and whether or not we need to go in person. There are different questions that have been brought up. And I think we need to have a meeting of that ad hoc committee to start addressing some of those questions regarding coronavirus. So I'll have whoever is the senior person of that committee to get with you to talk about scheduling a meeting and an agenda real soon. I have Ms. Mountain now, and then Ms. Barron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Administrator Brown, I would just like to let you know that, and everyone else on the record, that I've received both shots, and I can't say enough positive things about Prisma Health, Richland County Sheriff Department, the National Guard, and University of South Carolina for the process that they have working for getting these shots out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Barron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Brown, I wanted to ask about the emergency rental assistance program. I know that you stated that we're still trying to find out where we are with all the details, but do we have a slight time frame centered around that? Because that is something that is hot and pressing as we are moving forward the next month or so.
Absolutely. And actually, I was asking about the COVID data before I actually moved to that section. So, but that's no problem. I can move to that question. So in your packet, I did put just a little blurb in there talking about the fact that Richland County did apply for and receive an allocation of funding related to the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. In your packet, I noted that amount was a little bit over $12 million. And right now, actually, the consultant, as well as our staff members who are working on that project, we're looking to meet this week to talk about some of the details of that so we can roll that out. And that's why I actually said in that document that we were looking to meet with the coronavirus ad hoc committee meeting within the coming weeks. So after we meet this week, hopefully we'll get the team together. Then really in the next week to 7 to 10 business days, I would expect that the coronavirus ad hoc committee will be meeting so we could discuss how we're going to set up the program associated with these funds. That's what we're going to meet about internally as a team. And then here in the next, like I said, 7 to 10 business days, ad hoc committee meeting. And that's why I mentioned I would like to call that meeting or have that group stand up to discuss that issue.
Yes, sir. Thank you so
great.
much.
That'd be great. Go ahead, Mr. Brown.
No problem. So with that being said, the last thing that I had listed to discuss with you, and this is something that you've already actually received at the council retreat. So in your packet, I actually followed up and you the document in writing that I communicated verbally during the retreat. And that is the memo that you have in your packet that talked about some of my views on the state of the county and gave some recommendations for the council to consider that as we started this new council year, that you could look at those recommendations and potentially send those to committees to be vetted and ultimately to full council. So if you have questions about those specific recommendations or the information that we talked about during the retreat, I'm happy to discuss that with you. Certainly, I don't want to read the document again. I know you heard it during the retreat, but it is in your packet and it is visible for any members of the public who want to view that state of the county address that I provided to the council. So, Mr. Chair, barring any questions, that's going to conclude the report that I have for the council on this evening.
Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, I'll move on to the item 10 on our agenda, report of the interim clerk council.
Yes, sir. The only thing I have is we've received a thank you certificate from the U.S. Census Bureau honoring our partnership during the 2020 census. And I just wanted to let y'all know that we have received this. That completes my report.
Thank you. That brings us to item 11, the report of the chair of council. The first item there was a request from Mr. Watts regarding his retirement insurance. I, after having spoke with staff and human resources and a few council members, my decision was to remove that from the agenda. I meant to do it at the time when we approved the agenda, but we got busy, forgot about it. So I just entertained a motion for that item to be removed from the agenda.
So moved.
It's removed.
Second.
Properly second. Ms. Tony, can you call the roll so that way I can properly remove this item from the agenda?
Yes, sir. Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker, Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
The next item is regarding an equity index study. I received some information from someone in the city of Columbia regarding an effort to do a racial equity index study. That study will deal with, an analysis of our demographic information, well-being data that could be very helpful to us to deal with various racial equity situations in our county. Once this data is gathered and compared and compiled, it can be extremely beneficial. You all should have received something in the mail about this in your email. I know Spartanburg have taken on this, and I would encourage you to look at their report in terms of the data it provided. And the reason why this invitation came from the person at the city is because they're trying to get together about 5 or 6 different groups so that the cost of the study would be very reasonable. And that cost of the study would be $2,000 for the county. I shared that with Mr. Brown. My recommendation would be is that we have our administrator to look at that. He has authority to do so with $2,000. And if he thinks that's something beneficial for Richland County, to allow him to move forward. So that would be the motion for me regarding moving forward with the potential of doing an equity of study for our county. So I would entertain a motion to that effect from someone.
So moved.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, it's moved to a second.
Second.
It's moved proper second. Ms. Rachel, you recognize?
Yes, I second. Yes, Mr. Chair. So it mentions 6 entities. Do you happen to know who those other folks are?
I know it's a city of Columbia, but I don't know. No, the answer is no.
Okay.
But we'll ask Mr. Brown to make sure you follow.
Mr. Chair. I have a question.
I have Ms. Barron
Oh, I apologize.
and Ms. McBride.
So, Mr. Chair,
And then Ms. Newton. Go ahead.
while I think that this study is definitely needed, especially participating in the Color of Law series with the City of Columbia, and just born and raised in Spartanburg, South Carolina, it's some good stuff going on down there. So but while at the same time, I think that we need to do our due diligence with getting some information. So Mr. Brown, as mentioned, just finding, getting all the details. Surely we know that this is needed, But, you know, as my colleague, Ms. Terratio mentioned, just having the information of who the other players are, the agency in which we're using, all those great questions that even though it seems like a small bit of money, it is still one that we want to steward well over.
Thank you. Was it McBride and Newton?
McBride,
McBride and then Newton.
recognize him?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I think the study would be good, but at the same time, as I mentioned during our retreat and numerous other times the last year, that we actually need to look at the equity issue with our procurement in terms of all of our contracts and even in hiring for Richland County. And I mentioned that to Mr. Brown, and he said he would be looking into it. So I would hope that would not be the substitute. This equity index study would be the substitute for what we as Richland County had already planned to do.
Yeah, and I know employment is a component of that study. I know that for sure. And we can just break it down to Richland County too. Yeah.
But do you understand? I hope that this does not cancel out the other issues that have been discussed.
So it'll augment it.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am. That this does not replace our efforts concerning those concerns that were addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Newton, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Related to both of the previous comments, I had two questions. One, just understanding the motion, which is that we're directing our administrator to do his due diligence about the study and then to proceed. Is that if he sees fit? Is that correct?
That's correct. Mm-hmm. If he sees it beneficial to the county.
Then I guess I would wonder if the maker of the motion would accept a friendly amendment to that, which is in the event that Richland County does participate in the equity index, that we also ask the administrator to come back to council at such time as the results are ready with recommendations as to how the information gleaned from that study might affect county programs or policies. So just adding that next step so that we don't just get the information whenever it's ready, but that it also includes implications and any recommendations for the county.
Make a motion okay with that? I'm fine with it. So we'll add that to the motion and no objections. Any further discussion? If not, Ms. Only, can you call the roll for the motion regarding the equity study?
Yes, sir. Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Terratio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That brings item 12 on our agenda, open and close public hearings. The first one is item 12A, an order amending the fiscal year 2021 Economic Development Fund annual budget by $2,829,714 to amend the economic development budget for property acquisition. That public hearing is now open. Did anyone sign up to speak at that public hearing?
No, sir.
That public hearing is now closed. And that brings our second public hearing is item 12B, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021 general fund annual budget by $2,829,714 to amend economic development budget for property acquisition. Anyone submitting information reference this item?
No, sir.
And that public hearing is open and now closed. That brings to item 13 on our agenda, the approval of consent items. The first one is 13A, the only one. 20-037 MA Brian K. Smith, H1 to GC, that's Fair Road and Clemson Road, tax map number R1 7400-04-04. That's a second reading item. Chair, entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Moving properly second. Any discussion on item 13A?
Yes, Mr. Chair, could you just remind us, or do you know what district this one is in?
This is in District 7. I think.
7.
Yes.
Okay.
That is moving properly. Ms. Barrett, do you want to speak to this?
I just, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to formally go on the record to say that this project had already started. This process has already started prior to my coming on council. But I've spoken to many of my colleagues that govern in the Northeast area, and we are concerned about the congestion and would like to look as we move forward to smart growth, not just moving to approve, but more of smart growth for the Northeast area.
Thank you. Mr. Malinowski?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just as a reminder to Councilwoman Barron, if she would like to make a motion to defer this, she could in order to get more info on the matter.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Malinowski. But I've been brought up to speak with the from staff. I appreciate it though.
Okay.
So it's moving properly second. If there's no further discussion, I'm going to ask Ms. Owens to call the roll for the vote for the motion for 13A.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
and Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That brings us to item 14A and B, third reading items. And again, that's an order to amend the fiscal year 2021 Economic Development Fund annual budget by $2,829,714 to amend the economic development budget for property acquisition. And item 14B is a companion to that one, so I entertain a motion to take both A and B together.
So moved.
It's
Yes.
been moved.
Second.
Properly second. In discussion. If there being none, now I ask Ms. Owens to call roll for the motion for item 14B and C. I'm sorry,
Malinowski,
A and B, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Teratio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Walker, you recognize.
I'd move to reconsider the previous two items.
Motion for reconsideration for item 14A and B.
Second.
Properly second. Ms. Owens, can you call roll for the motion for reconsideration of items 14A and B?
Yes, sir. Malinowski,
No.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Teratio,
No.
Joe Walker,
No.
Barron,
No.
Overture Walker,
No.
English,
No.
Newton,
No.
Mackey.
No.
Motion fails.
Thank you. That brings us to item 15, report of the Development Service Committee. Ms. Horatio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item was considered in the Development and Services Committee, and we recommend council to approve staff's recommendation to continue our current implementation and enforcement procedures complying with the International Property Maintenance Code. So I believe, if I'm correct, no motion would be required or no vote would be required because we're just maintaining our current policies and practices.
Thank you. That completes your report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that completes my report.
Thank you. Next item is item 16, report of the Economic Development Committee. Ms. Mountain, I recognize.
Thank you. Going back to that last one, I'm not so sure that a vote is not required because we have choices that were provided to us. Options on page 63 at the very top. It says the items below demonstrate options the county council can take when adopting the IPMC.
But to be safe on it, then we'll go ahead and take action on it so that way, won't be any question about it. And
Well,
action will be just remain as is.
On this, because if you go to page 64, and maybe these specifics or definitions are elsewhere, but when it talks about a structure, it doesn't give us a definition of what a structure is, but just says a structure is found unfit for human occupancy, it can be condemned. Well, certainly there are many structures in our unincorporated areas that are not meant to be for human occupancy.
Mr. Malinowski, but if you don't take any action, then none of those things, if you don't take any action on anything, then nothing changes.
Well, because I was going to make a motion that we take number 2 on page 63, which to amend the county code of ordinances to adopt the code in part with the exception of the administrative and enforcement sections and add the desired administrative and enforcement procedures to be used in conjunction with the remainder of the adopted IPMC. And that would
now that would have to be a substitute. If that was the case, then that would have been a substitute motion to the committee's motion.
And that's what I'm making, sir.
So the original motion by the committee is to not change it and to allow things to remain as is. And Mr. Malinowski offered a substitute motion. Is that correct, Mr. Malinowski?
That's correct. And part of my other reason is in the code, the IPMC, which I'm all fine with the majority of that. But when we say shall comply with the intent, your intent and my intent may be two different things. I think we need to get down to specifics here. So there are some other things that I believe need to be addressed that the county should be addressing and not just rubber stamping the IPMC code. And that's why I offer that secondary motion.
Again, let me just say it again for clarity. It's the committee's recommendation is for the code to remain the same as it is. And Ms. Malinowski offered a substitute motion. I'm going to carry that substitute motion first. Well, first of all, was that substitute motion second? I didn't get a second for it.
No, it wasn't.
So substitute motion died for lack of a second. So we're back to the original decision not to change codes at all, but to remain the same. Which in that case, since there's no other motion, Ms. Malinowski, we won't need a vote. Item 16, report of the Economic Development Committee. I'll carry those since I was the chair at that particular time of the Economic Development Committee, and then the new chair will pick it up the next time. Item 16A, authorize expansion of the boundaries of the I-77 corridor regional industrial park jointly developed with Fairfield County to include certain property located in Richland County, execution and delivery of an infrastructure credit agreement, provide for infrastructure credits to Project Centrum and other related matters. The Economic Development Committee recommendation was for approval for first reading for that item. Any discussion reference to Economic Development recommendation for that item? If not, I'll ask us only to carry the motion for the recommendation for items 16A.
Malinowski,
No.
Pugh,
No.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That brings us to item 16.
Chair.
B.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. P. you
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was just looking back at my notes from item 14. I want to change my vote to yes from no for reconsideration.
Thank you. You say going back to 14?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll go up. I get it. Yeah. Miss Amoni, you got that? That was the item we reconsidered.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
That brings to item 16B. Authorize the First Amendment to the Master Agreement governing the Forest Acres Business Park between Richland County and Fairfield County. Authorize the First Amendment to intergovernmental agreement between Richland County and the City of Forest Acres and other matters related there. The committee recommended approval for item 16B. Discussion. There being none, I'll ask Ms. Owen to call the roll for the committee's recommendation for approval for item 16B.
Malinowski,
Mr. Chair, with my no vote, I'm going to say I spoke with Director Rubel for this, and he was supposed to give me some information. Since I don't have it, that's why I'm registering a no vote.
All right, we'll make sure you get it for second reading.
Thank you.
You may proceed, Ms.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And you may recall item 17A was removed. We said it was not properly before us now, so it was removed to our next meeting based on the previous motion. So that would bring us to item 17B, District 7 hospitality allocation. To entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I'll move for discussion.
There's a motion for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
The moving proper second. Discussion. Ms. McBride, you recognize.
Yeah. At our last meeting, I recommend that we defer this until this meeting. And I wanted to make sure that Councilwoman Barron had the opportunity to look at the hospitality tax allocation. And I would like her input on in terms of what we need to do with it.
Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, if I may be recognized.
You recognize
and to address Ms. McBride.
Mm-hmm. Please, go ahead.
I have had the opportunity to review the request. Although I do believe that the H-tax funds need to go out into the community, I do think that we need to streamline our process by which we are distributing these funds. And also the frequency in which organizations get the funding.
Thank you. Any further questions? Again, it was moved to properly.
Councilwoman Barron, do you have an issue with funding this as it is?
I do not. I do not at this
Okay,
moment.
thank you. Thank you.
If there's no further discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Horatio, is that you?
yes, I don't know if I'm missing a page or not, but I don't see where it's going. I wonder if I've put it in the wrong place. Could you just, oh, I see it now. Never mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, any further discussion? There being none, I'm gonna ask Ms. Owen to call the roll for item 17B. District 7 hospitality tax allocation.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
No.
Barron,
Yes.
Richard Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
That brings us to entertain a motion for reconsideration of that item.
Move for reconsideration.
It's a move reconsideration, a second.
Second.
Move proper second for reconsideration. Ms. Owen, can you call the roll for reconsideration for item 17B?
Malinowski,
No.
Pugh,
Repeat that again.
The motion for reconsideration for item B regarding District 7 hospitality tax.
I know means yes.
okay, McBride, no.
No.
Livingston,
No.
Horatio,
No.
Joe Walker,
Yes, which means no.
Thank you.
Barron,
No.
Richard Walker,
No.
English,
No.
Newton,
No.
Mackey.
No.
Motion fails.
That brings us to item 17C, an ordinance extending the ordinance 17-20H9 041-20HR and 005-20H9 requiring the wearing of face masks to help alleviate spread of COVID-19. Chair, entertain a motion.
So move. Move to approve.
Second.
The move and properly second. Discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Walker, you recognize.
Yeah, my position on this hasn't changed, but I'm not going to reiterate it yet again. My question is technical. Is anything changing with the enforcement agency with this extension, or is it still incumbent upon the fire marshal to enforce this ordinance?
I'll let staff answer that, but as far as I know, I don't think it changed. But go ahead, Mr. Brown, do you want to respond to that?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. We, Councilmember Joe Walker, we don't have any additional enforcement mechanisms other than the county fire marshal's office and our just regular code enforcement officers who don't routinely do that.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's moving properly second for discussion. Ms. Owen, can you call the roll for item 17C?
Malinowski,
No.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
No, which means no.
Barron,
Yes.
Richard Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes, which means yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And pass means pass. Item 18 Exec session, we don't have anything left for executive session. Is that correct, Ms. McLean?
Yes, sir, that's correct, Mr. Chair.
That brings us to motion period. We have one motion there, approval of a proposed letter in opposition to SC Senate Bill 1. Mr. Rachel, do you want to speak to that before I because in motion period, remember,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'll to a committee unless there's unanimous consent to do something. You recognize.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just speak to this. I'll just speak to this briefly. While the letter before us might not be something that my colleagues as county council members feel that they should weigh in on, I do want to make a statement about the effect that these types of bills will have on the constituents of Richland County. I know people have different feelings on this issue, but the bill will not only affect the citizens of our county who can become pregnant as well as their families, it will directly affect Richland County in ways that folks may not have considered. For instance, the county has an interest in Prisma Health and ensuring that the citizens here have access to health care. This bill would discourage doctors from coming into this state and our county and encourage them to leave, but just because their ability to practice evidence-based medicine would be diminished. Again, Richland County has an interest in economic development, and I've been told over and over again, and I'm sure you all have too, about how important it is that businesses want to come and stay here. We need people to work at these businesses, and they either need to choose to stay here or to move here, as my family did. Bills like this don't attract businesses and they don't retain talent. It will come to as no surprise to anyone that I oppose this bill. And if others feel that this would harm their constituents and the interest of Richland County, I would welcome conversation and support around.
Thank you. Mr. Ratio, I could forward this to a committee, but when will this bill come up? Will it be a moot point or?
It's moving like a freight train, Mr. Chair. So, you know, sometime in the next week or so, I would say.
Well, we'll have a committee meeting. No, we'll have not until the 4th. So it'll be a couple of weeks before we have a committee meeting. And then
it would be zoned.
The point I'm making, the only thing to do anything about it now is a unanimous vote of council.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. McBride, you recognize?
Yeah. Mr. Ratio, I want you to know that I fully support this. Is it possible that she could do a resolution and we sign off on it? And it won't have to come before the full council?
No, no, you can't. No, you can do a proclamation.
You can't? Well, I meant a proclamation. Can we do a proclamation?
Yes, you can do a proclamation, but you can't do a resolution.
Okay, Ms. Race, because we may not have the time.
Well, you don't need council approval for a proclamation.
I know, that's what I was saying. In fact, I was just talking to Ms. Ratio in case we can't get anything done by council. She could do a proclamation, and I would like to sign on.
Thank you, Ms. McBride. I can have something prepared and circulated amongst anyone who would want to sign on to it.
And that would not be from the members who signed it. It would be from council, but it would be a proclamation, yes.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Walker, you recognize?
Yes, I just want to say that certainly I understand that an issue such as abortion is beyond, I guess, the scope and purview of county council, but I certainly want Councilwoman Teresa to know that I share her sentiments when it comes to women's reproductive rights. And so thank you for actually sharing this with the council and for and stepping out there. But just want you to know I certainly share your sentiments. And so proclamation, resolution, whatever incarnation it is, I look forward to joining you.
Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you very much. So there's.
Mr. Chair.
I think I had Ms. English and then Ms. Malinowski and then Ms. Barron.
I just wanted to share with Councilwoman Terratio that just as a child and adolescent counselor who's seen for years, no training for, I'm going to call them babies, unless it was related to sexually transmitted diseases in the school system. A lot of these young girls or women that become pregnant don't even have the training necessary to determine even before they get to this state. So it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on something. No, you can't have an abortion, but you've never been trained on how to properly take care of your body. You know, so Councilwoman Terratio, I support you wholeheartedly in this.
Let me say I'm not doing my job now because I think this is the motion period and I'm allowing everybody to give their say on an item, and my job is just simply to take a vote on it or send it to a committee. So I just want to make that point so we won't have any more speeches or whatever. If you have to, Mr. Malinowski.
Oh, no, since we're not discussing it, I'll put my hand down, Mr. Chair.
Oh, that was your concern too?
No, my concern was quite the opposite, but I'm not going to get into it since we're not.
All right, thank you. All righty, so that item, again, like I said, I have to refer to committee, but it wouldn't be timely enough to get anything done because it'll be a decision made about it before then. So, Ms. Terratio, I would suggest that you consider your option of perhaps proceeding with the proclamation. Anything else coming from the body?
Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, a point of personal privilege, please.
Go ahead on
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn prior to the point of personal privilege.
Thank you.
The motion to adjourn was made before the personal privilege. So and it was properly second. So I have to carry that motion. So those, Ms. Owen, I'm actually to carry the motion for adjournment.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
No.
Livingston,
No.
Terratio,
No.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
Barron,
No.
Overture Walker, English,
No.
Newton,
No.
Mackey.
No.
Motion fails.
Mr. McBride, you recognize?
Mr. Chair, I would like a point of personal privilege, please.
You recognize?
I just want to take this time to extend my sincere thank you to all my colleagues, at the administrator and staff at Richland County for their acts of kindness and thoughtfulness extended to me and my family in the passing of my sister, former Councilwoman Thelma Tillis. All your calls, emails, cards, and flowers meant so much to us. And I want you to know that we truly, truly appreciate everything. And I particularly want to thank Mr. Livingston for taking the time to come and speak on behalf of his relationship with my sister on County Council. And Ms. English, I want to thank you for the prayers that you gave for me, that you prayed to us for me and my sister. And just everybody, you've all been so kind. So thank you.
You're quite welcome. Anything else come for the body? Chair would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Motion for adjournment, there's a second.
Second.
Moving proper second for adjournment. Mrs. Owen, can you call the roll for the motion to adjourn?
Malinowski,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
McBride,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Horatio,
Yes.
Joe Walker,
Yes.
English,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Overture Walker,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.